Houthi attacks on Red Sea shipping have disrupted global supply chains, pushing up transit time and costs. The armed group has targeted Israeli and commercial vessels since early in Israel's war on Gaza, saying that the attacks are a show of solidarity with Palestinians. But the US says the assaults are affecting its economic and national security and that it aims to reopen international shipping lanes. President Donald Trump has launched the largest US military operation in the Middle East against Yemen's Houthis since taking office for a second term. The armed group says that it will hit back, targeting American ships. So could the global shipping industry face a major crisis? We'll discuss that with our guest shortly. But first, let's have a look at what's at stake in that Red Sea corridor. The waterway connects the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean through Egypt's Suez Canal. It serves as the fastest and shortest passage for container shipping between Asia and Europe, and facilitates up to 12% of global trade, transporting more than $1 trillion worth of goods each year, including oil and gas. Since Houthi attacks began in 2023, container shipments in the region have plummeted by 75%. Before those attacks, 25,000 ships passed through the Red Sea every year. That number dropped to 10,000. The majority of vessels linked to the US, EU and UK are now rerouted around the African continent. That adds 10 days to a journey at the extra cost of $1 million in fuel per trip. Now, the attacks have also pushed up insurance premiums and the cost of containers. The price to move a 40-foot steel box went up from $1,600 in 2023 to $6,000 last year. Stavros Karamperidis is a lecturer in maritime economics at the University of Plymouth. He joins us now from Plymouth in the UK. Good to have you with us, Stavros. How damaging then to global trade and the shipping industry in general have these attacks by the Houthis in the Red Sea been?
They're damaging us, as you've seen, a lot, shipping, because we have to reroute, and that rerouting is an additional 40% of distance that we have to cover in terms of vessels going from Asia to Europe or from Asia to America, because some of them they used to go through the Suez Canal. And as you just demonstrated from your graphs, that of course has increased the cost of shipping, because we need more vessels to do that. It's requiring more fuel to do the overall trip, and that has an additional cost. So that has had a big impact to the overall shipping sector.
All right, so it's been bad for shipping. What about for consumers, the likes of you and I? How have we been affected?
As you just demonstrated, freight rates had increased. And of course, when the freight rates are increasing, that means that someone has to pay the additional cost. So yes, there were some studies, and I've also done some calculations recently that's approximately per container, it's an additional $18, the overall disturbance that we're seeing. So yes, that may seem small, but everything is adding up to the overall additional cost that we have to pay.
What about insurance? I mean, are costs becoming unsustainable for the shipping industry? Is this putting anyone out of business?
It's not putting anybody out of business at the moment, and I wouldn't say that. I don't think so. We'll see anybody going bust because of that, because as you rightly demonstrated, the freight rates are increasing. So that means that the profitability of the shipping business is increasing. And recently, there are a lot of reports from big shipping companies that are saying that if the overall situation continues, for example, their profitability will continue going up. So I don't think so. It's going to be that we're going to see any of the businesses going bust. The only thing we're going to see is that the freight rates will remain high, while there were a lot of predictions for 2025 when Mr. Trump took over the administration, that because of the stability he was trying to bring to the region, and the day one when he managed to bring the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, that the Red Sea will open again. And of course, that was everybody was anticipating that the freight rates will drop. And we've seen a drop to the freight rates at the first period when we had the ceasefire. But since we had the overall escalation, of course, as it was anticipating, of course, freight rates went up because, of course, ships start deviating again through the Cape of Good Hope.
What about President Trump's tariffs? Let's leave aside for a moment the Houthis' action in the Red Sea. How will Trump's tariffs affect the shipping industry if demand for consumer goods in the West drops, that will presumably mean fewer container ships carrying goods from Asia to countries like the US.
That's correct. That's what they're anticipating to see. So if those tariffs will be in place, the way they've been announced they will be in place, we're anticipating to see that the value of the goods the cost of the goods will increase, and that's a typical thing in economy. When the goods are becoming more expensive, it's going to be less people willing to buy them. So that means less demand for the goods. And in shipping, we're having derived demand, which means that, if people are having money to spend and willing to spend on buying goods, they will buy them. Otherwise, we'll have less movement of the containers, as you said. And it's not only the containers. Don't forget when we had the energy crisis in Europe, for example, that a lot of people were switching off the electricity or the gas because they weren't able to afford it. So that's why, again, we saw less energy coming into Europe. So yes, containers will have the first hit from those tariffs, but anything else will also follow, because when we're talking about steel, for example, a lot of steel products were coming with dry bulk carriers. That will not happen. We're going to see a drop in the overall demand, and that can have a similar example with other places we've seen tariffs being implemented, to be honest.
Stavros, it's been great to talk to you on Counting the Cost. Many thanks indeed for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.